going to go find the Daredevil Museum. And now we're going to look around the Daredevil Museum. Wow. I think it's only small, but kind of interests me how people throw themselves off things or into things. Some live, some don't. So this is the first kayak to shoot the Whirlpool's rapids successfully in 1981. Wow. Wowee. Here we go. I mean, nope, I'm not going to throw myself over the falls in a barrel. But he did. You can read that. So he did it because he wanted to make some money to publish a book. Wow. Oh my goodness. That's him. My goodness. So he didn't survive, but his turtle did. My goodness. Well, what can I say? Wowee. I mean, you just wouldn't, would you? Well, clearly people did. My word. The 105-year-old pet turtle survives. Look at that. And who's this? This lady was the first person to survive a trip over Niagara Falls. My goodness. Annie Edson Taylor. A Kentucky oak wood barrel contained 2 large cushions and 1 small pillow. Annie was said to have been accompanied by her cat. Annie's successful stunt inspired many others in the following years to challenge Niagara Falls in similar stunts. So something like this is what she did it in. Yeah. Karel Soucek. That's him there. See inside. There's a chair in there, look at that. So he accomplished many courageous challenges, including a ride through the dangerous Niagara Rapids in 1977. After years of preparation, Karel successfully went over Niagara Falls in a barrel in 1984. So he attempted to recreate his Niagara Falls stunt at the Houston Astrodome by having his barrel fall 180 foot into a tank of water. Unfortunately, he succumbed to his injuries when his barrel hit the edge of the water tank. Karel had nicknamed himself the last of the Niagara Daredevils. And this is Karel's grave. So Karel was a professional stuntman. And for his stunt going over the falls in the barrel, he was fined $500 because he didn't have a license. Made that money back though with interviews and selling stuff after his escapades. So after that amazing feat over the falls in the barrel, he attempted to recreate that at the Houston Astrodome in Texas. And the barrel he was in was raised 180 feet above a tank of water and dropped. Unfortunately, he missed the centre of the water and hit the rim of the tank. He didn't survive his injuries. He was only 37 years old. Also at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, was Evel Knievel. And he tried to talk Karel out of doing the stunt, saying it's the most dangerous he's ever seen. And you can see his grave represents a barrel over the falls. Look at that. Rest in peace, Karel. Rest in peace. Goodness. And Ray Weaver, Rapids Queen, 1961. So Ray Weaver and Major Lloyd Hill co-designed this experimental steel boat Ray used to ride through the Niagara Rapids. The purpose of the trip was not a stunt, rather to test the boat's design with an idea to develop larger models as a rescue boat. Wow. I wasn't really scared. That's pretty cool, actually. I mean, I get if they were going to try and use it as a rescue boat. Tiny inside, isn't it? Very tiny. Awesome.
This is Drummond Hill Cemetery, final resting place to many notable local figures, including Karel Soucek. Just by looking at his headstone, you might have an idea of who he was and what makes him famous.
So Dave Munday achieved a remarkable feat by becoming the first person to successfully adventure over Niagara Falls twice and survive both trips.
A barrel perched at the precipice of the Niagara Falls, perhaps?
Super
Karel
Dave
Soucek
Munday.
was a professional stuntman from Hamilton, Ontario, who is perhaps best known for going over the Niagara Falls in a barrel on July 2nd, 1984.
Wow, that's him.
On the morning of the day
He designed the barrel for his stunt in 1985 with construction based on this illustrated sketch by crew member Ross Whitaker.
Ramp, they slid the barrel containing Soucek into the water. The barrel drifted down the river and quickly swept over the precipice. This autographed photo shows the moment before the barrel plunged over the falls. The barrel cost $1,500.
So Major Lloyd Hill. So the Hill family, I've been doing quite a bit of reading about them. And started off with the father, who was... They lived by the Niagara River all their lives effectively. Dad rescued people from a very young age, so he was a veteran of the river. And some of his sons followed suit. Some lived, some died. So William Redhill That's
Following
the
the stunt,
thing.
his barrel was
That's what he
confiscated and
used.
was fined $500.
Or what he was going to use.
Barely 6 months later, on January 19th, 1985, Soucek was in another barrel, this time hung from the top of the Houston Astrodome. Suspended 180 feet over a 12-foot wide
falls.
by 9-foot deep water tank,
Tie in a ring.
35,000 spectators watched as the barrel swayed dangerously,
No way.
was released, and hit the side of the tank below. Soucek was immediately rushed
I saw
to
Dave
hospital
Monday over
and
there.
died shortly thereafter.
Dave Monday.
Stuntman Evel Knievel, a personal friend
Wow.
of Soucek's, tried to persuade him not to perform the stunt. He claimed it was the most dangerous he'd ever seen. The exterior of Soucek's Niagara barrel featured the same cloth you see before
That's pretty cool.
his tombstone. It's not whether you fail or triumph, it's that you keep your word and at least try.
I like that. I don't think you can see in there.
Today I would like to tell you a story of another Niagara Falls Daredevil, Annie Edson Taylor. Annie was a
Oh, you
teacher,
see
the first person to ever go over Niagara Falls.
inside this one.
Annie was born near Auburn, New York, to a middle-class family. A family of some means, but sadly her
I mean, it's a little bit more substantial than a wooden barrel, isn't it? But there you go.
It is more than 40 years later that we enter into the 20th century, and this is when we arrive in Niagara. Annie decides to make her trip over the Horseshoe Falls. According to a booklet that Annie published after her stunt, this is what we know. It was October 24th, 1901. She was towed out into the Niagara River from the American side, well above the brink of the Horseshoe Falls, by two men in a small rowboat. Set adrift shortly before 4 p.m. Inside her barrel, there was a harness that saw her sort of tethered to the bottom of the barrel. This was to help protect her head from making violent contact with the top of the barrel. She also towed with 10 metal hoops holding all of the wooden staves together. It weighed 160 pounds, and it had an anvil attached to its bottom on the outer side for ballast. About this early part of her journey above the falls that day, Annie writes, "The trip through the rapids was nothing but a pleasant sensation. I could feel the barrel toss and often turning partly over," and places it under her knees and drops herself to the bottom of the barrel. She says, "As I reached the brink, the barrel did exactly what I predicted it would do, paused for a moment, and then made the awful plunge of 158 feet to the boiling cauldron below." It took some time after the plunge for the barrel to right itself and make its way to shore. About this, Annie writes, "When I realized I had been rescued, my senses immediately left me. Like a person falling to sleep, I became unconscious." After the barrel was opened, less than 1 hour after she was set adrift, Annie said she heard a man's voice say, "The woman is alive," to which she replied, "Yes, she is," though much hurt and confused. In the end, Annie's stunt brought her very little fame or fortune. The financial security she assumed that day would bring her never came. There were some initial speaking engagements, but interest in her story faded quickly. Small sums of money came her way by hawking Dory street sign to any tourist or passerby who cared to know about it. Annie died penniless in the county home on April 30th, 1921. And in the end, it was her friends who raised the money for a proper burial in Oakwood Cemetery, Niagara Falls, New York.
Niagara's towering Horseshoe Falls.
He's got some achievements, this guy really has.
And 2,600 feet wide. Stand close and feel a power that evokes an instinctual fear, making Niagara's Daredevil history all the more intriguing.
That was his first rescue. 9 years old he was when he saved his sister from the burning house.
He's defined as one who risks life and limb to dare the devil to take one's soul, to intentionally cast yourself over Niagara Falls. The first person to get the barrel rolling over the falls
What a family.
Annie Edson Taylor.
There you go, guys. That's the Daredevil Museum in the Skylon Tower, Niagara Falls. Pretty interesting. You know, as I said, some survived, some died. But they all tried.
Nobody ought to ever do
They
that
all
again.
tried.
Today, she's buried in a pauper's grave in Niagara Falls, New York. On July 5th, 1930, George Stathakis, a 46-year-old Buffalo chef, and his pet turtle were strapped inside a 1,000-pound wooden barrel and towed out above the falls where the tow line was cut. 18 hours later, the barrel was finally secured to the shoreline below. When opened, George had died of suffocation. The turtle survived. The falls would claim another daredevil when William Red Hill Jr. placed himself inside a flimsy rubber contraption of 13 tire inner tubes and plummeted over the falls on August 5th, 1951. William Fitzgerald, also known as Nathan Boya of New York City, became the first African American to drop over the falls in a steel 6-foot diameter rubber ball on July 5th, 1961. He later checked out of the hospital with a clean bill of health, but before he left the city, this quiet daredevil said, "I did the trip for very, very personal reasons." Next to make the treacherous trip over the falls on July 2nd, 1984, was a flamboyant 37-year-old professional stuntman from Hamilton, Ontario, Karel Soucek. His 9:30 a.m. trip in a bright red cigar-shaped plastic barrel went off without a hitch. When Soucek finally checked out of the hospital, the doctor suggested he should take a trip to the psychiatric ward. It took only 30 seconds for Soucek to become number 8 to go over Niagara Falls in a contraption, and only the 5th to survive. John David Monday, a 46-year-old diesel mechanic from Caister Center, Ontario, was all aglow and unhurt as he was interviewed below Horseshoe Falls minutes after surviving the plunge on October 5th, 1985. Several tourists captured Monday's moment of reckoning at the edge of the falls. Not content with surviving one trip over the falls, John David Monday made another successful plunge over the falls in what he described as a no-frills barrel on September 26, 1993. Why? Monday said simply he was drawn by the power of Niagara, and although not seriously injured, Karel Monday admitted the trip took more of a toll than the first time. Niagara Falls is a force of nature. From October 24, 1901 to October 1, 1995, a span of 94 years, 15 different people have intentionally challenged Horseshoe Falls. 5 have lost their dare with the devil and paid with their lives.